You're the ones who step up for each other. I've got your back. You've got mine. Kindness, humility, empathy. It's not just talk. It's who we are. It's who we always have been. And no one can take that from us. The movement to bring it back, it started here. And here. And here. In school gymnasiums, community centers, the living room down the block. You'll be where? Okay, we'll be there. Who are we? We're the movement that will beat Donald Trump. Welcome. We're going to have to sweat for it. We're going to have to sacrifice and fight. We're going to have to lead. Everyone is going to have to lead with kindness, humility, empathy, and not just talk, but action. Action today, action tomorrow. Action until we win. And we will win if we do this together. It's who we are. It's who we always have been. Now let's show them.
Thank you for joining this Biden-Harris campaign National AAPIs for Biden weekly call and AAPIs Assemble phone bank. And now please welcome AAPI Vote Director Amit Jani.
Hello, and thank you so much for joining us for our weekly National Asian American and Pacific Islander program and AAPIs Assemble phone bank today. Before I start, I just want to mention that we do have translation services in about 3 different AAPI languages. So please, if you do need those services, please look on the options menu on the bottom right of your screen where it says interpretation. But again, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate you being here with us, your support. I'm sure many of you saw the debate last night, and if Trump's xenophobic comments leading to the racist attacks against our community, against the Asian American community wasn't enough, or his gross mismanagement of the coronavirus, which has led to over 200,000 deaths across the country, then we hope last night's debate showed why Trump is unfit to be the commander-in-chief and the need to get real leaders in the White House with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. We are officially 34 days from Election Day, and the AAPI community has a real chance to make a difference. And to steal a phrase from Congresswoman Judy Chu, we really can and will be the margin of victory that helps to determine the most consequential election of our lifetimes. So with that, I know we have an exciting group of speakers with us today who will be sharing what's at stake come this November and some of the exciting news from the AAPI campaign trail. So with that, we want to jump right into it. I want to introduce someone I have the honor of working with, in Dennis Chang. Dennis serves as the senior advisor for external outreach for the Biden-Harris campaign. He is a veteran of 5 presidential campaigns, including serving as the national finance director of Hillary Clinton's 2016 campaign. And during the Obama administration, he served as deputy chief of protocol at the State Department. With that, I'll turn it over to you, Dennis.
Great, thank you, Amit. And thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon and tonight. We're also extremely grateful to have Representatives Judy Chu, Ami Bera, and Grace Meng joining us tonight. And of course, a big thanks to them for their leadership and support. I can't believe it's 34 days until Election Day, but that means we need all of your help, continuing help, to make sure that we do what we can to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris this November. There is so much at stake at this election, and if there's one thing that was made clear last night during the debate, it's that Donald Trump, as Amit mentioned, is clearly unfit and unqualified to continue being our president. He turns Americans against each other and fuels toxic racism for his own political gain. He has no desire to unite Americans to move our country forward, and division continues to be his primary political strategy. It's wrong, and it's not who we are as a country. And that's why we have to do everything that we can to restore the dignity of the office by electing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris to the White House. So as part of our AAPI engagement strategy for these final 5 weeks, we are excited to announce the launch of our AAPIs Assemble Aspire virtual bus tour. This virtual bus tour will include stops in key battleground states across the country, where there will be valuable engagement opportunities with the AAPI community and where our community can and will make a difference. We'll kick off this tour tomorrow with Vice President Biden providing video remarks at the APAC's virtual celebration. followed by 10 days of virtual bus tour stops around the country from October 2nd to October 11th. The tour will kick off in Milwaukee, Wisconsin this Friday, October 2nd, and we'll move on to the following states throughout the tour: Virginia, North Carolina, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Washington State, California, Minnesota, Texas, Arizona, Georgia, and finally the great state of Nevada. Each tour stop will feature an Aspire PAC member, local elected officials, as well as other AAPI surrogates when possible. So we hope you can join us along the way, and please reach out to your family and your friends, your aunties, your imas, your ayis, your titas, your chittis, everyone that you know, your neighbors, your community members, to join us virtually at each and every one of these stops. It's now my pleasure to hand this over to my colleague, Erin Wilson. Erin currently serves as the National Political Director for the Biden-Harris campaign. And previously, she was the State Director for US Senator Bob Casey. And in 2016, we had the privilege of working together on Hillary Clinton's campaign, where Erin served as the Deputy State Director for Pennsylvania. So with that, Erin, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dennis. It's great to be on this call tonight with so many of our good friends within the community from all across the country. I love a good bus tour. I love a good tour in general. I'm thrilled that we're going to be launching our AAPIs Assemble bus tour. I will say that we have some really good tours going right now. We had our Build Back Better train tour, our Whistle Stop tour that is one of the most inherent Joe Biden endeavors that we have launched, which we are thrilled about. As folks probably know, a huge part of Joe Biden's history is that he traveled back and forth every day as a United States Senator on Amtrak following the tragic accident where he that cost the lives of his wife and daughter, leaving him to raise his two sons by himself, and traveled as a senator every day on Amtrak back and forth to Wilmington, Delaware, to be sure to be there to tuck his kids into bed at night and to wake up with them before going to school in the morning. And he is known throughout Amtrak as knowing all the names of all the conductors, knowing all of the bag handlers, just knowing everyone on the route, because that's who he is. And he'll often remark of his travels along the route and seeing homes and wondering, looking at windows and seeing families seated with each other at their kitchen tables, and thinking about the challenges that they each faced and the struggles that they faced. And as we headed out of the convention the debate just today, we launched our Whistle Stop tour that took us through Ohio and into Pennsylvania. We were headed in from Cleveland to Alliance, crossing the border into Pennsylvania, heading into Pittsburgh, Latrobe, Greensburg, and finishing in Johnstown, which is still ongoing as we speak. And throughout the course of this travel, the vice president met with families and workers to talk to them about those very kitchen table issues that motivated his work as he traveled back and forth to DC as a United States Senator, motivated his work as he served as vice president within the Obama White House, and continues to this day to motivate the work that we do as we endeavor to achieve success this November and have a Biden administration in the White House. So we've had a lot of fun travel over the course of the primary. We've had some fun travel, and I'm excited for the virtual travel that we're going to have as we look towards the next coming weeks. And to talk to us a little bit more about some of those individual pieces, we have an awesome panel tonight. This event is the highlight of my day to be able to join by so many strong members of our congressional delegation. On the subject of travel, we are joined by Congressman Ami Bera, who served California in Congress since 2013. He is a physician and was previously a clinical professor at the University of California Davis School of Medicine. And I have gotten to know the congressman in our travels through other bus tours in the coldest of Iowa, and the congressman from California bravely weathering the cold of Iowa in January with us, and we thank him for that. And of course, we also have joined with us our chairs, Chairwoman Judy Chu, who has served in Congress since 2009. She was the first Chinese American woman elected to the United States Congress and is chair of the Congressional Asian Pacific American Caucus. And we have, of course, our chairwoman, Grace Meng, who currently serves in New York and has served in her seat since 2013. She represents Queens, and she is chair of the Aspire PAC. And all of our members today have been huge leaders in helping us to build this coalition and this campaign, and we are so grateful for your support. And I thought I'd kick us off with Chairwoman Chu. If I can ask you, what are you most looking forward to during our AAPIs Assemble virtual bus tour?
Well, I am really looking forward to seeing what a bus ride is like on a computer. So that is going to be a lot of fun. And I want to ask you, are we going to get snacks? I'm only kidding. But seriously, I'm looking forward to connecting with Asian Pacific Islanders all across the United States. And I want them to know how critical they are to this election. A survey came out from the APIA vote. They always do a survey during every election year. And what they found out is that 50% of APIA voters still say that they haven't been contacted by either party. So what that says to me is that if there is that contact, especially if it is in their own language, it is like gold. They will remember that forever, and it truly motivates them to vote. And we get to go to places that are so varied, places like California, Nevada, Virginia, Georgia. Let me just say what I'm looking forward to in these places. Like in California, we have Orange County, which has so many AAPIs. And with those AAPIs, we were able to turn Orange County red to blue. It was historic, but we know that Republicans are trying to go after that all those 3 seats down there. And so we need to make sure that they know what Democrats stand for, and that not only do we have to keep those Congress members, but make sure that we vote for a president who can really fight for them. And then there are those swing states like Nevada and Virginia. Those populations are growing, and they are voting in a way that is consistent. And actually, I believe that they were instrumental in getting those states to go for Hillary Clinton in 2016. And then there are states like Georgia, where you see this small but growing Asian population. I had the privilege of going there, and it was very, very exciting to see the transformation there of an Asian population that was really gaining their knowledge of the whole democratic process and was very, very excited to do so. And they were so active in the campaigns of Stacey Abrams and of our congressional candidates. I know that they will be very motivated to help Joe Biden win, as well as Kamala Harris. So this different terrain is exciting, interesting, and great. And if we can motivate them all, indeed, we can be the margin of victory.
Thank you for those comments, Chairwoman, and I couldn't agree with you more. And I know you mentioned those very important places where we need to be very thoughtful about changing the margins that have gone red, that we want to make them a little bit bluer, and those very important seats. And certainly Congressman Bera, as one of the chairs of our frontline program that protects our most vulnerable members of the House, knows a lot about that space. And Congressman, do you want to tell us a little bit about, what's at stake, what those races mean, and what's really at stake for the community this November?
No, absolutely. And first off, it's great to see this isn't Iowa in January. So this virtual bus tour is going to be a little bit warmer and a little bit easier. It's not enough for us to just deliver President-elect and President Biden and Vice President Harris, because we know we have to give him a House that he can work with. And we've got to continue to hold our majority in the House of Representatives, but we also have to deliver the Senate, because What we've seen out of the Republicans and what we've seen out of President Trump is, as Democrats, we have to legislate and pass laws on things like immigration reform. We have to address the healthcare inequities in America. We have to make sure we protect the Affordable Care Act and access to healthcare. And as Vice President Biden demonstrated last night, he has that leadership, he has that vision that will both tackle the pandemic, defeat the virus, but also then help so many people who were harmed by the economic downturn, who have lost their jobs, who are facing trouble putting food on their table or paying their rent and keeping a roof over their head. Those are the stakes. And the reason why this is so important is in many of these districts, whether it's competitive districts in Houston or Dallas or Las Vegas, these are districts where you have enough of an Asian American AAPI population where if you could just turn those votes out, you not only deliver votes for Vice President Biden and Senator Harris, but you also hold on to these very competitive seats. So, the work that, last Saturday, along with Mayor Steinberg, who's my local mayor in Sacramento, who's also a big endorser and supporter of the Vice President and Senator Harris, we kicked off a phone bank and we could travel to Arizona where we could both campaign for the Biden-Harris ticket, but also for Senator Mark Kelly, because that's a seat that we want to win. So this is a great way to do it. And one last thing, we know from what President Trump said last night, his whole strategy is to make it hard for folks to vote, particularly targeting immigrant communities and targeting communities of color. So as you're out there phone banking and talking to folks, et cetera, make sure they've got a plan of how they vote, make sure they understand when and where they can vote if they're going to vote early within their state. And I know that the campaign has all that information easily accessible, so you can deliver folks to that. And then make sure if on election day they're voting in person, I do worry that the Trump campaign is going to try to intimidate folks. Don't be intimidated. This is the most important election of our lifetime. And you've got to get yourself out there to vote, but vote early, get that it is a pandemic, get that ballot in, and we are going to make sure every ballot gets counted. So again, thanks, Aaron.
That's right, Congressman. And I'll put in a pitch for iwillvote.com as our one-stop shop for all of your voting needs, which the Vice President talked about directly on the debate stage last night. And I think you're right when you talk about the issues that are facing America and voters right now. And I'd love to turn it over to our chairwoman, Grace Meng, to talk a little bit about why you think Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are the right leaders for the community and America as a whole right now.
Thank you, Aaron, and thank you to Amit and Dennis and the entire team, everyone on this call for working so hard week after week. I'm thrilled to be here with my colleagues to help announce this amazingly exciting bus tour. I too, like Chairwoman Chu, wish that there could be snacks and food, but we'll take a rain check for that and we'll celebrate one day soon. But especially after last night's debate, the contrast could not be clearer. We have a president who is unwilling to condemn white supremacy. We have a Republican Party who can't even support a non-controversial resolution that we passed in the House a few weeks ago to condemn bigotry against Asian Americans, versus Joe Biden, who is someone who leads with compassion. You can't be a good leader if you don't have compassion and if you're not a responsive listener. He knows what it is like. He is relatable. He knows what it is like to be that everyday American who struggles to make sure that they can have the opportunity and the resources to take care of their own families and loved ones. And then you have Senator Kamala Harris, who is the first Asian and African American woman to be our future vice president. It is so exciting. And not only do they lead with compassion and wisdom, but Kamala is the lead sponsor of that resolution in the Senate condemning anti-Asian bigotry. So the choices cannot be clearer. But as we talk about what this president said last night and how he's broken up families and torn our country apart over the last 4 years, and refuse to reach out to help Americans, which there are over 200,000 dead now from the coronavirus. We need to make sure that our community understands and knows these differences. We cannot assume that everyone in our community watched those debates. We can't assume that people participated in the convention. And that's why I'm so thankful to the Biden campaign for making historic investments in hiring diverse staff and making historic investments in reaching out via Asian ethnic media outlets. These are historic and will make a tremendous difference so that we can adequately reach out to our communities to remind them what is at stake in November.
Thank you so much. I could not have said it better myself. We need to constantly remind our voters, particularly as we head into this final stretch of the campaign, about what's at stake, and could no more strongly emphasize the importance of making a plan to vote, and that voters have choices. We have options. And I know we're running close to time, so I'm going to wind us down, but wanted to close with a fun question for each of our panelists. And I'll start with Congresswoman Chu. Which state are you most looking forward to virtually traveling to?
Well, I'm looking forward to Texas. It feels like it's going to change dramatically in this election. And we know because we have two strong candidates who are running for Congress, Sri Kulkarni and Gina Ortiz Jones, who are Asian Pacific Islander. When they get elected, we will grow our numbers in CAPAC dramatically. Well, certainly I think that we could very well go from 20 to 23. So I think something's brewing there in Texas, and I look forward to seeing that change and seeing it go from red to blue.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more. There are all sorts of possibilities with Texas, with the House, with the Senate, and with some chambers as well. Mr. Bera, do you have a favorite state you're looking forward to? Back to Iowa, perhaps?
You know what? Iowa, winter's starting to set up, but we had a great time with the people in Iowa when we were out there. We've got some competitive House races down there. We've got a Senate seat that we're going to pick up. And you know what? Iowa is very much in place. So, this is the state where, if they were watching last night, Donald Trump is bankrupting a lot of small farmers, and you hear these stories, and you just don't see the empathy from it. So we're going to get out to Iowa. We're going to go visit some of those small towns, and we're going to make sure we win that state.
That's right. We've got some unfinished business. And Chairwoman Meng, final thoughts on your most looking forward to state for virtual travel.
Oh, this is so hard. I'm going to upset someone. I hate answering questions like this. But I will say I'm really impressed at the coalitions that are being built, not just within the diverse AAPI community, but with other communities of color in places like Georgia and Nevada. I'll pick those two for now. These are areas where we traditionally don't think that there are large areas of AAPI populations like Georgia, but when Stacey Abrams ran, her and her campaign tripled the Asian American turnout in the state of Georgia. And I'm just so encouraged by coalition building, like efforts that we've seen in places like Georgia, Nevada, Pennsylvania. I don't want to upset people, but this is what it's going to take for us to win November. We have so much more in common with various shared communities than we do have different from each other. And so let's get the message out and let's work hard for the next 34 days.
Yes, ma'am. And I will say we are playing to win everywhere. That is the name of the game. And we are keeping a close eye on states that have tight margins. We're keeping a close eye on states that we know we need to win back. And we're keeping a close eye on states where Democrats are playing to win for the first time in some time because of what a great ticket we have. So we've got a really dynamic map, and we're looking forward to spending the time with all of our panelists and with our friends from the community as we head into our AAPI Assemble bus tour. Thank you to our panelists for joining us, and I will hand it back over to our fearless leader, Mr. Amit Jani.
Thank you so much, Erin. I'm so excited about the Aspire Pack bus tour, the AAPIs Assemble virtual bus tour, and all the virtual snacks that we'll have on the way. So I just want to thank you so much to our wonderful Aspire Pack members and our guests today. We've heard what's at stake come this November 3rd for the AAPI community, and there's just so much work left to do. But with your help and the help of your family, friends, relatives, and so many others in the AAPI community, we can really, truly be the margin of victory. So with that, please look at the chat box where we've placed the phone banking links on there. You can also check the confirmation email you received as well earlier today for the respective state or language that you would like to phone bank in. And if you aren't already subscribed to AAPIs for Biden, please text AAPI to 30330. Again, that's AAPI to 30330. Or you can sign up by going to aapisforjoe.com. That's aapisforjoe.com. And of course, there's always I will vote. So please make sure you do have a plan by going to iwillvote.com. So with that, please join us for our AAPI phone banks directly following this program. And thank you so much for all that you do. Have a good night.